Today, I'm going to be making a pork butt rubbed with coffee. That's right, I'm going to be doing a pork butt, actually a pork shoulder roast with the bone in, using a coffee-based rub. If you've never done this before, it's actually really good. It's going to be a combination of coffee and brown sugar for sort of a mocha sweetness. And that's going to work really well with barbecue sauce at the end when I make pulled pork out of this. The coffee I'm going to be using is a Stag Espresso blend. Point of interest, I'm not a coffee drinker, but I love coffee flavor in things like ice cream and certain rubs. Just going to get enough beans here in our grinder to get started. Want to get it down to a really fine grind. Really, really fine. Might be hard to see in there, but that's about as fine as you want to get it. Now we're ready to get the rest of this rub going. First thing, we're just going to dump our coffee into a bowl. Then I've got a little over a cup of light brown sugar, and I'm just going to whisk this together. Love that coffee smell. Wonder if a coffee ice cream rub would work. Probably not. Got a few bits of the brown sugar which have sort of clumped up, so I'm just going to use the back of the spoon to smash those down. If you really wanted to mix this and grind it some more, you could throw it into a blender, a food processor, a larger spice mill. That's about what I'm shooting for. Let me give this a taste. Ooh, coffee and sweetness. That is going to work really well. Let's get this on our pork. So this is about an 8-pound pork shoulder roast, bone in. I'm just going to evenly coat this with the rub all over. Want to get this coffee flavor everywhere. And the edges, everything. Don't neglect those edges, especially on these thick cuts of meat. It smells like coffee in here. This is going to be good. Our pork is rubbed and ready. It's time to get the smoker going. Today I'm going to be using my trusty Charbroil Electric to do this pork butt. I'm going to be smoking it between 225 and 250, probably closer to 225, and I'm going to be using maple wood chips. So let's get this going. I have this set up with just 2 racks, one to hold the internal temperature probe to give me the temperature of the smoker, and the other rack which is going to hold the pork. Want to add a little water to the water pan in here. That'll just help keep a little bit of extra moisture in here. It is a warm, dry day, very low humidity, so that will help a little bit. I don't want this to dry out. I do want it to get a little bit of a bark on the outside, but I don't want it to sweat out all that moisture and juice inside. You can see the wood container for the smoker is about 3/4 full of these maple wood chips. I want a good number in there because I want to get smoke in there for several hours. That will probably give me 2.5 to 3 hours of good smoke once the pork is in there. I can always change it out later and add more. It's not an easy process because that's blazing hot at that time and it's not recommended. But today I'm not going to do that. That'll be enough smoke for me. Let's get this in the smoker. Close this up and get the temperature set. It's going to be very hard to see in this sunlight. I'm going to set my temperature for 225. Set my time. I'm going to set the time for 10 hours, even though it shouldn't take that long. I always like to set time longer. And we are cooking. As soon as this is up to temp, I'm going to get that pork in here so it gets that maple smoke bath started. Temperature is starting to come up. We have an ambient outside temperature right now of about 72, 73 degrees. Just a beautiful spring day. It's gonna be a good day for a cook out here. So the smoker temp is right about where we want it. It's gonna go up a little bit further and it'll drop down once we get this meat in there, but it's time to get this pork in there. Just getting the first wisps of that maple smoke. It takes a while for the electric smoker to really generate the heat there that gets all that smoke billowing, but when it does, it's a good bath. All right, gonna get our pork right in here. It already has such a nice dark color on it from that coffee rub. Gonna get our internal meat temperature probe in here. Gonna make sure we keep it away from the bone. So it's showing an internal meat temperature of about 45 degrees, which is perfect. I had it out of the refrigerator for a little bit after I rubbed it. Came up, we're ready to go. Let's get this closed up and cooking. Once our smoker temperature comes back up, it's gonna be making some smoke here in just a little bit. Got our maple smoke coming out of the Charbroil Electric now, and it smells really good. Hickory's my favorite smoke smell, but maple's right up there. I didn't start using maple until probably about 6 months ago when I got my hands on some wood chips, and I also got some sticks that I tried out in the offset. Really nice wood. I love using this, especially with pork. Probably have about an 8 to 9 hour cook ahead of us here for this 8-pound pork shoulder roast. When it gets to about 160, 165, I'm going to wrap it in foil and take it until it gets about 195. That should be just about right temperature. Leave it wrapped tightly, sitting for about 30 to 45 minutes. Still gets more of that heat, absorb those juices. Then we're going to pull it, make some coffee rubbed pulled pork sandwiches. All right, we're almost 4 hours into this cook. Our internal meat temperature is about 136 degrees. We've still got about 25, 30 degrees to go before we foil wrap it, but I want to take a look at this right now. Let's see how we're looking here. It's looking really nice. Ooh, smells really good too. Got that brown sugar coffee flavor in there. Let's take a look. Definitely have that coffee sort of mocha-y flavor on that skin when you taste it. Oh, all right. We'll close this back up. I'm guessing we have probably another hour and a half, 2 hours before we hit that 160, 165 range for the, the stall that this can hit before we put it in foil. As soon as we're ready to do that, I'll bring you back. It is just a gorgeous day today. Blue skies and breezy. Maybe 75 degrees, just beautiful. Perfect day to be outside smoking. So the internal temperature of pork just hit 160. It's time to take this out, double wrap it in foil tightly, and get it back in there to finish up its cooking. That is looking really good. All right, let's get the probe out of there temporarily. Get this out on the foil. I know this is hard to see with all the light reflecting off the foil, but oh, nice bark. Take a taste. Oh man. Okay, this is good. Let's get it wrapped up. Let's turn it. Not adding any liquid to it because it's still plenty of juice in there. Get it back on. Whew, that's hot. Got to get our probe back in. Check our temperature, see how close we are. 158, we pulled it from a spot that was 160. I'm gonna go with that being close enough, 158. All right, close it up and keep cooking. We probably have another 2 to 3 hours to go in the foil. All there is to do now is wait. All right, our internal meat temperature of this pork shoulder roast, pork butt, whatever you want to call it, is 195 degrees. That's our target. Now I'm going to check it for tenderness. So I'm going to use my instant read to probe this, not necessarily to check the temperature. Oh, in and out like butter. That's what you want. Yeah, in and out like butter. Yeah. Yep, we are very tender. Gonna get this off here now, get it inside and let it rest for about half an hour. Get this up here before I'm covered in juice. Here is our pork butt, pork shoulder roast, whatever you want to call it. It's gonna end up as pulled pork. We rubbed it with a coffee and brown sugar mixture, and it smells wonderful. Let's just see if this bone comes out. A little bit right there. Oh, there we go. Sometimes it comes out without any help. Sometimes you give it a little bit of help, but that bone is clean. Let's see here. I'm just going to break a piece off for a quick taste before we pull this and make a sandwich. Let's see. Oh, oh. Ooh. That coffee's good in there. Look at that bark. I don't know if you can see that. Black glove, you can't really see it, but there is really good bark on this. I gotta pull this and make a sandwich. Just gonna start shredding here. You can do this with your hands if it's a little cooler. This is really hot still. I'm just using these claws. My wife made a nice barbecue sauce, which we're gonna be adding to this for the sandwiches. I know some people don't like to add sauce to the pulled pork to make the sandwich. I do. And then added some sauce on the sandwich. I like barbecue sauce. You can shred this as much as you want or as little as you want. You want just tiny little pieces or big chunks. I like to go somewhere in between. So here I've picked out some pulled pork, got a little bit of sauce on it already, but I'm going to add more sauce to make my pulled pork sandwich. Get a good amount of sauce in there. Save some for the sandwich too. Just going to mix this up. This sweet barbecue sauce is going to go really good with that coffee and brown sugar rub. And that bark on here, oh, so good. Time to make a sandwich. So I've got my nice brioche bun, non-toasted. I want that sauce to be able to soak in here. I'm just going to build myself a pulled pork sandwich. If you have coleslaw, go ahead and put it on here. I'm just going for the straight sandwich. And now for a little more barbecue sauce. Ooh, that looks good. All right. Lid is on the sandwich. Time to eat it. Here we go. Let's see. Oh man. Oh, here come the dogs. This is really, really good. My wife is jealous right now. She's sitting right over there, and she can see this. It's really good with that sauce on it. Oh, this is good. What's interesting is you have such sweetness in this because of the sauce and the brown sugar, but there is that back note of the coffee, and it works really well with all this. This is that kind of sandwich where you don't care if you get it all over your face. So the overall cook time today for this was about 8.5 hours. The first 5.5 or 6 were naked, unwrapped, and the last, say, 2.5 were double wrapped in foil. And boy, those last 2 hours are what really made this tender, but it didn't ruin the bark. Oh, this is so good. I don't want to forget to give a shout out to the maple chips. That maple wood smoke really gave a nice subtle flavor to this. I mean, everything's blending together so well in this. This is just a complete success. So don't be afraid to try coffee in a rub. Add it to one of your favorite rubs. See what it comes out like. This was so simple, 2 ingredients, coffee, brown sugar, and this was the result we got. Just amazing. I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to check out some of my other videos and consider subscribing. And if you do, click that bell for notifications. Thank you all for watching. Hope you have a great day. I'm going to eat some more. I'll see you again soon.